Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Kia ora, I'm Zoe George and welcome to the April episode of Fair Play, a podcast covering women in sport from athletes and results to current affairs and issues. This podcast is made in association with RNZ and Wisp Sports. If you're into podcasts as much as we are, check out RNZ for politics, crime and lifestyle podcasts and Wisp Sports for everything to do with women in sport. This month, it's a little different. There's no guest host. It's just me and our feature guest. And of course, it's not fair play without an update from the Basin Reserve toilets. The name Rachel Maia will be familiar to Fair Play fans. Rachel is a paraclimber. She's a vivacious, driven and highly motivated rock climber who exudes positivity and strong will. You wouldn't think that over the past 20 years she's struggled in so many ways. As a teenager, she found solace and enjoyment in sport, particularly rock climbing. It was a huge part of her identity. At 16, though, a horrific climbing accident changed her world. She was off on a school climbing trip, doing the last climb of the day when she fell awkwardly. She broke one ankle and shattered the other. At first, she didn't think it was major, but her left leg was decimated and she was wheelchair-bound. She had to learn to walk again. Since then, she's undergone 14 surgeries, experimental treatments, relied on crutches, and has had years of constant pain. It was not just her physical ability that was damaged. In the last 2 decades, she's battled with negative labels, loss of identity, low self-esteem, and image issues. Not only could she not climb, she struggled to do things many of us would take for granted, including doing things with her 3 children, one of whom she describes as having the superpower of autism. But she's regaining her confidence. In the last 2 years, she's been scaling to great heights in the climbing world, and this year she's eyeing up nationals at the end of May and worlds in France in July. Recently, she made a life-altering decision. She opted to amputate her left leg just below the knee, possibly allowing her to be more able than ever before. In mid-February, after 2 years of preparation, she went into surgery. I visited her in hospital 48 hours after the doctors removed her leg and started by asking her about what she thought about when the doctors put her to sleep.
Oh, look, it was really important to me that I fell asleep with positive sensations on my foot, and I know that that can help reduce sort of nerve pain issues afterwards. So and I wanted a special time with my friends beforehand, so a couple of girlfriends and I, we went down to Te Tahi Bay Beach at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the sun came up on the other side of Wellington. So it wasn't exactly a sunrise, but it was a really beautiful time, and put my feet in the water and just spent some time not saying goodbye, because I feel like I respect my past, I'm looking forward to my future, but yeah, just enjoying those sensations and taking that time and creating that space. And so I went to sleep with lovely, positive, sandy, oceany feelings on my feet, and my cousin Stephanie was there with me holding my hand, which was really sweet. This is my 15th surgery, and it's the first time I've taken a support person in, but it was a big one, so I was really thankful to have her right there with me. So I went off to sleep, and I woke up and had an interesting experience. I believe my ocean sensation plan worked. You could say that. I woke up calling out, possibly quite obnoxiously, "Excuse me, hello, can someone take the jandal off my foot, please? It's really annoying." And the nurses would wander over and say, "Honey, you don't have a foot anymore. Surgery's all finished. You're in recovery now." And so that kind of went on for about half an hour. And then you get to the point where you're aware that you're awake and that you're doing it, but you kind of can't stop it because you're not quite awake enough to have that much control. So it sort of progressed to me calling out, "Excuse me, could you please take the jandal off my I don't have a foot anymore, do I?" Which, I mean, that's a great thing. It's a positive step for me but it was definitely an interesting experience.
Humour is not necessarily, something that you would attach to losing a limb, but you've kind of...
Well, I don't know. I think lots of people use humour as a coping strategy, and my kids are similar. My son has drawn a snake on the end of my bandaging here.
Snake. It looks amazing.
Stumpy the snake, with a good sense of humour there. So I really think that humour is okay as long as there's also balance. So, the morning of the surgery, there were some dark humour jokes flying around, and then there was also a point where I said, yeah, I think I'm done with that now, and let's tone it down a bit and just acknowledge that this is a big thing. And there were moments of distress as well. It's not, I'm not Superwoman. There was a wee moment where they'd marked the leg that was going to be taken off with black vivid, as you do, and then the way I was sitting, some of that black vivid had rubbed off onto the right leg, and then suddenly they called, sort of snap your fingers, it's time to go, and I noticed this black vivid on my right leg, and I was like, you can't take me, you can't, and I flew into this complete panic that vivid had to come off my right leg in case I woke up with both of them gone, which obviously is not going to happen, but that was upsetting, and obviously extra emotions, and the whole situation was sort of heightened, and there needs to be balance. So humour's great as long as you can actually also recognise the reality of it. It can't be something that completely takes you to another world, otherwise you just, and I've been there where you're in another world and you're not connecting to what's around you, and that's not a great place to live. So I like living in the real world with a bit of humour and a bit of reality and a bit of, you love, you laugh, you cry.
Well, we spoke not too long before your surgery.
Yeah, not too long at all before my surgery. I think I just had my pre-op, didn't I?
I think so. And tell me about what happened when they brought out the Please Return the Body Parts sticker.
We were going through some of the pre-op motions, and I felt really calm and chilled out, and I've been playing pinochle with one of my friends because we sort of wanted to keep busy and not be distressed waiting. So just to stop anxiety building up, we're just like, what should we do? Well, let's play pinochle. And then the nurse came in to do some pre-op bits and pieces, and she sort of just reached out with this lovely bright pink sticker to put on my wristband, and I saw it and just recoiled, like everything in me just shot straight back up the other side of the bed, and I was just like, you just stop, no, and then I burst into tears, and it was a sticker that said, please return body parts. And so for me that was like, it was a bit of a trigger that this is really happening, and this was my choice, and I'm so proud of myself for making this choice, and it's been so well thought through, and I've prepared for it as well as anyone could prepare. I've been really blessed to have that opportunity to take the time and to put support in place and post-op care things in place and little things along the way to make it fun. But in that moment right there, it just was... it hit me quite hard.
It sinks in, doesn't it?
Yes, it sinks in, and you can't run from it. You can crawl up the bed and tell her to put her sticker somewhere else, but it just was one of those moments where you were like, oh yeah, okay, I've got about 15 minutes left, and then it's gone.
Before you went into surgery, you used tongaporo, right?
Yes. So my beautiful friend Liz came with me to Te Tahi Bay Beach, and we stood in the ocean, and she had her tongaporo with her, and the idea of it is that, when you're swinging in, it's making this beautiful, like a pan flute sound. You're releasing all the hurt and the pain and all the suffering and any hate, and just all of it is being released, and what you're left with is this beautiful sensory note or tune that just is suspended through the air, and I had the sound of the ocean as well, and the cool water on my feet. And for me, that was really significant. My journey's been difficult at different stages, and I think lots of people relate to negative labels that get put on you, and to self-esteem issues and image issues, and that's a real thing for people today. And so for me, it was just this really precious moment of just releasing all of that and accepting who I am with the leg and with the disability, but also accepting who I am going to be without the leg, and acknowledging that I can be empowered and strong and beautiful and capable however my body looks and whatever abilities or disabilities I have. And so I just got to hold on to all that peacefulness, and it was nice because as I was going to sleep I had that suspended note in my mind, and I had the sound of the ocean and I had the water on my feet, and it was a really beautiful sort of spiritual moment, and it was completely spontaneous. I didn't know we were going to do that, but Liz brought that down. And it's really nice to have friends around you that understand you and know you, and can support you in ways that you sort of didn't even know you needed. Yeah, it was really, really precious.
It's so beautiful. It is, because this is a life-changing thing, not just for you, but for your whānau as well.
Yes. Yep.
And they've been part of the process.
Yep.
And how did your children react when you told them that this was what you were going to do?
Well, for my children, it's always not really been a matter of is she going to do it, but I guess more when. And I've spent 2 years kind of priming them that this is a possibility. So it wasn't really a big deal when I said, oh, look, I've booked the surgery. It's going to be on the 18th of February. And they kind of all just went, oh, cool. When do you get your leg? I guess some of the more difficult aspects for the children were, in particular around my daughter. She has magical superpowers, which happen to be called autism and an intellectual disability. And she is all sorts of colourful, is how I like to describe her. So I've spent a lot of time preparing her. I tried on a friend's leg in the States, stuck my kneecap into his prosthetic leg socket, and then we took a photo, and I felt quite happy in that moment, so I had this big cheesy as grin on my face, and that's become a photo that I can show my children so they can get used to what mum might look like with a prosthetic, and that's all part of, I guess, socially helping Charlotte in particular to adapt and just to normalise it. So, and then another aspect that was difficult for her to grasp was that I don't just go to hospital and come home with a new leg. It's a process. So I've sort of shown her pictures of people in recovery with their stump sock on and talked about hard work and exercises, and I've tried to be realistic with the children that, we can set goals, but we actually don't know how this is going to turn out, and we need to be patient. So we had a really beautiful little moment where we sat down and wrote some goals on a little Make-A-Wish sort of little cards, and we popped them in a jar, and the boys had some fantastic goals. Max was quite keen for me to bike the old coach road with him, and perhaps hike the volcano and do the Tongariro crossing, which are all fantastic goals, but I encouraged them to put some smaller ones in there just so we can tick something off quickly, because I felt that it would be really good for them to see that we were moving through goals, we were going somewhere. And so some of the smaller goals that were on there, they're just so precious. Max, who was 11, had written down he wanted to bake with mummy, we were going to make cookie dough, and actually we weren't going to cook any of it, we were going to eat it all, because who doesn't like cookie dough?
Sounds heavenly.
Sounds heavenly. So that was really sweet. And Quillen, when he's been coming in to visit, he's my youngest, he's 8, he had a lovely snuggle with me today, and we were just chatting about goals, and he was talking about cooking in the kitchen, and I said to him, Quillen, do you remember when mummy used to be able to stand up in the kitchen and cook food or do things? And he said, no. And so that was a little bit of a sad moment that, he's 8 and he doesn't have these memories that that I would have liked them to have had. But we can work towards that. So don't you start crying. If you start, I'll start. Look, here's Stumpy. Look at Stumpy.
Okay, hi Stumpy.
This weird stump with literally has like a little paper tongue hanging out of the end of my foot.
Because the thing is, though, you've had you had this accident when you're a teenager.
16.
16. And now, but this is actually going to make you more able. You're going to be able to do all of those things.
Yeah, that's the plan. That is the plan, is to regain some of those things. But here's the really cool thing. I need to scrap that phrase because I hate saying there's a really cool thing. Okay. I think one of the most beautiful things out of this is having the chance to sort of go on this journey where you learn to accept yourself no matter what your abilities are. And initially, several years ago when I lost a significant amount of my mobility and lost the capacity to cook and to bake and to pour some love into my kids' meals, and we just sort of progressed to slapping baked beans or tuna on toast and going, here, there you go, that's it, good enough, covered our food groups. When you lose those parts of you that sort of make you can really flounder for a bit, and I did. I really struggled. But going back to my climbing, being harnessed in a rope, just sort of swinging around up there with my arms, there was no stress on the leg, no tension on the joint, and I found this freedom and this activity that I could do where I really wasn't impaired at all. I was just climbing very differently to how others would do it, and I found myself again, and I learned that I can't do everything that I would like to do, but there's still enough. There's enough of me here, and I can do many things, and I can find creative ways to enjoy being with the children and being active. So I feel like in gaining my mobility back and gaining back a little bit of the old me, I also get to keep the new me. And I quite like the new me. The whole international athlete thing was quite unexpected, but I'm a little bit in favour of her. And then at the same time, I have these other wins that actually are so much more significant, like those little activities with the children, and holding hands while you're walking across the street rather than a crutch. I think they're going to be the small wins that I will just, my heart's going to melt.
They're the small wins, but they're the big wins.
They are, yeah. It's like the little things become the bigger trophies, or that's a strange phrase, but I know what I'm trying to say. But
it's true though. I mean, you could go and win every climbing competition there is, but the fact that you get to be a mum and do all those amazing things with your children, that is incredible. And ideally,
the goal is to be pain-free, and that's what this operation is sort of heading me towards, is really hoping that I come out of this without the degree of chronic severe pain that I've been living with. But I've certainly had some nights where there's less pain than I experience on a day-to-day basis. Wow. And that felt quite liberating. That was kind of cool.
Are you getting phantom pains? Because that's something that a lot of amputees have, isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard of phantom pain, and look, to be honest, I don't really know. I mean, I definitely have a lot of pain, and sometimes it feels like it's pins and needles in the foot that is absent, so maybe that's what phantom pain is. But I actually have tried really hard not to focus on that at all, and not to try and explain it, and not to ask too many questions about it or look into it, because I feel like the more, if it is phantom pain, the more attention I give it, then the more it might build. So I have these beautiful little videos on my phone. I took my leg on a little tour.
While it was still attached?
Yes, yes. Yeah. That would be awkward. So I took my still attached limb for a tour. A friend and I went to the beach, and I just stood and sort of leaning on one crutch and very lightly touching the bad foot against the sand and against the ocean. Took some videos looking down at that, and we did the same with gravel and hot sand and dry grass and boardwalks and concrete, and I've taken all these wee videos, so when I get that horrible pins and needly pain, which probably is called phantom pain, I just get my phone out and I look at these little videos, and I tune into the sound of the ocean and watching my foot in the waves, and I get myself right into that place. I take myself there, so I'm so completely there that I can feel the sand and the ocean, and then slowly the horrible pins and needles just fade away.
What's the road from here?
From here, it's home to Wanganui for a couple of weeks or a week and a half, and then I'll be coming back for a stump check and stitches out, and then the process starts to shrink the stump and allow that muscle to atrophy, so to get smaller. Thankfully, my leg is so completely ruined that the muscle is pretty much wasted already, so I've got a little bit of a head start on that one. And I have a little bit of a squeezy timeline with New Zealand Nationals about 11 weeks from today. So I'm looking to, get into that stump sock straight away, and I've had some good chats with the prosthesis in Hamilton. We've been looking at a plan to just progress things as fast as we can, but within reason, and hope that I might have a prosthetic leg by May. If I don't, I will hopefully climb without it. I think it's going to be a really interesting rehab, because there are going to be things that I feel like I should be able to do sooner than things that you would think you couldn't do for a long time. So, for example, when I climb, you're harnessed in, and there's no weight on that leg if you don't want there to be, and you don't need to carry anything, and you don't have to traverse horizontally. So it's really quite simple. When you're in the kitchen hopping around, it's very difficult to grab the peanut butter from the cupboard whilst two hands are on crutches and get it on the bench and hop up over to get the bread from the fridge, and I find some of those basics just so hard. So I think my rehab might be a little bit backwards, but in saying that, being able to get back to climbing will be good pain relief and distraction, and it's really good to have those goals. It's been one of those journeys where you're faced with just epiphany after epiphany about, just life and how we're all going through it and we're all stuck in it. And I have so many people on social media or contacting me and saying, oh my gosh, you're amazing, you're a superwoman, and that's really, really lovely, and I appreciate all the support. But one thing that I've been really aware of is that the person next to you might also be going through something really traumatic, and you might not know. And I was quite struck. I was in the supermarket I think a couple of days before the amputation, and I was really anxious, and I was struggling with pain, and I had my eye walk on, and I was trying to get my groceries into the trolley, and this lovely gentleman offered to help, and I was just in a little bit of a stubborn mood because I knew I had limited days to be doing things on, being Little Miss Independent. So I said no thank you, and he asked what happened to the leg, and I just said, it was a climbing accident, and he said, I hope it gets better soon, and I was like, well, actually, it's getting cut off in 2 days. I didn't really know what to say. I mean, it's not going to get better soon. And he said, look, all the best. I really hope that you're okay. I've got throat cancer and I've got more surgery in a couple of days too. And I was just so struck by the fact that we walk past people back and forth and out and around and about every day, and everybody is in their world with their trauma or their challenge, and what we do affects each other, and it either builds community or it doesn't. And in this situation, he offered to help, and that built togetherness. And it just, all these people on social media who are saying, oh, you're so amazing, I just feel like it's good to acknowledge that everybody who's not posting their story on social media is also so amazing. And I share my journey because I do hope that it will make a difference for someone, and maybe help people feel less alone and build community. But the person right next to you might need to hear that they're amazing as well. And I think that's what community's about. So, yeah, just a shout out to all the superheroes out there. Don't cry.
I am going to cry.
It's been a pretty big week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
And so many emotions, like just up, down, all over the place. But I think the biggest high for me, I know I came out pretty cuckoo. They're wheeling me through the hallway, and I was just calling out to everyone, they cut my leg off! They've cut it off! I swear I saw my anaesthetist coming up the stairwell, so I was like, they've cut my leg off, and this random stranger just gave me the most horrified stare. So I'm not sure that I made his day. But for me, it was just this weight was lifted, and it wasn't so, I don't know how this turns out. I don't know the ending. I don't know if I'm going to struggle with phantom pain. That nerve block hasn't come out yet. That's tomorrow. I don't know how hard it's going to be. I'm so sheltered in the hospital right now, and I'm clearly on a bit of a high, but the elation for me and the peace for me right now is that the wrestle is over, and what I've got is what I've got, and that is what I'm going to be able to move on with. And I've spent 20 years in and out of surgery, and I'm really hopeful that that's over now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to following you on the rest of your journey, and we can't wait to see what you do.
Thank you.
Paraclimber Rachel Maia. You can follow her incredible road to the worlds via her Instagram @Rachel Maia. Before we go, it wouldn't be fair play without an update on the toilets at the Basin Reserve. Last month, we spoke with accessibility toilet advocate Jen Hooper about the fully inclusive accessible toilet facilities that she's designed. The toilets are at the Hamilton Gardens and include a full-size change table, hoist, shower, and height-adjustable toilets and hand basin. It means the toilets are accessible for all who need them. Several councils and businesses around New Zealand are opting to install these toilets to make their facilities accessible to all. I put this to the Wellington City Council. Media manager Richard McLean says the council will not be installing an all-inclusive toilet facility like the one designed by Jen Hooper. He says, quote, "We don't think we could justify spending a significant amount of money on such a facility that would, in all likelihood, only get used a handful of times each year." He also says the council is still in negotiations over the tender for the redevelopment of the museum stand at the Basin Reserve, so the council can't absolutely confirm the final design and numbers of toilets that will be installed. We'll bring you another update on the toilets in the May episode of Fair Play.
Conversations from the world of women's sports. This is Wisp Sports Radio.
And that's it for Fair Play this April. Thank you so much to the incredible Rachel Maia. You can read more about her in a feature story at rnz.co.nz. And don't forget, you can join the conversation at RNZ or at Wisp Sports, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Zoe George. Don't forget to play hard, but play fair.